Congratulations, everybody. It is EU5. Most people kind of knew it was EU5. It wasn't that hard to guess, especially those of us who really knew it was EU5 but couldn't say anything. Now, that being said, we don't have a lot of time, and I want to show you guys a bunch of gameplay. So, instead of explaining everything that's going on in the game, which would take me way more than the amount of time that I am allotted for today's video, instead, I'm going to give you a little preview of some of the runs that I did. We're gonna just take a quick look at them. Then we're gonna get into gameplay. I'm not going to be explaining much, but 2 days after this video comes out, I will be doing a much deeper dive on some of the runs that I did, especially going over the gameplay in this video in a more in-depth format. Got it? So it will seem confusing, but things will be less confusing in 2 days when you watch the follow-up video. Okay? Good. So these are all the countries that I have played so far. The ones that are actually noteworthy would end up being Greenland, Scotland, and Norway. So you're going to see a little bit more from those in a moment. Now for Greenland, I can only show you up to, let me see here, this save file. Here we are, 1421 Greenland. As you can imagine, we're playing Greenland. We haven't gotten a whole lot done, even though it has been almost 100 years. But there is something we did get done, and that is increasing Greenland's population from about 3,000 to about 12,500. On top of that, when you're playing Greenland, you get to completely avoid the bubonic plague. So that's neat. For the most part, I've just been doing a whole lot of developing, so we have an average development of like 23, 24 kind of in here. That, for perspective, is somewhere around like parts of France, so not doing too bad. And as we've been encouraging migration from Scandinavia, we've been making more money. It's a really small amount of money, as you will soon see, but that's kind of the situation we're in Greenland. Then here we are as Alba. Why are we called Alba and not Scotland? Well, that's because we changed our culture to be mostly Highland. You can play Highland culture or Scots culture Scotland. It'll change your name. I don't think it changed my flag. I don't remember. In this campaign, it may not look like it, but I've actually been playing very slowly and not very aggressively, especially against England. I should have far more progress in England down here, but I just decided to build up the economy for the most part and be kinda chill. We do have our subjects in Northumberland. Subjects are super useful, but I'm not going to tell you why because we don't have time. We're making a decent amount of money, 284 income, which puts us right about here. So we're making more money than Brabant, not making as much money as a lot of other countries, including England, but that's kind of because of how trade works in this game. We'll get to that later, probably not even today. And then we have what I would consider my most successful game so far, starting as Norway, and here we are as Scandinavia in 1423. This time we have a respectable income, which says it doesn't break the top 10, because it says we have 403, but then I check over here and it says we make 442, which would actually put us right about here. We have pretty solid development around the capital, 45 in Oslo. We can look at the population, so we also have been concentrating population in the capital because centralization is pretty solid. And I'm working on figuring out a way to peacefully integrate Denmark. We'll have more on that later when I go through and do a little bit of an after-action report style video for each of those 3 runs you just saw. So stay tuned, you will learn more information about those 3 campaigns I did, but for now, we're gonna get into some actual gameplay. Now, I actually haven't played Naples yet, so this is going to be an interesting experience for me too. So let's see, Catholic Church, obviously part of the Guelphs, don't know what that does. Group that aligns with the interests of the Papal States. Okay, cool. We're also in a personal union with a couple different countries. Very cool, hopefully we can start to bring ourselves a little bit closer together, but not yet, because the Black Death is coming. At the very least, we can go over here and say, hey, everybody needs to contribute a little bit to the personal union. That's a good idea. They will probably vote in accordance with that. As for research, things are going to get a little bit rough. Do we have our plague research? I believe so. Okay, in that case, we're going to grab this, and we're going to grab this, then this, and that, and this. For the levies, we pretty much want as many people as possible, so we'll just go with everyone. Employment, we'll go with most profitable. We get progress towards capital economy, which we do want. On top of that, the most profitable buildings are the first to get employed. Our 2 crown reforms are some of the most important things we can pick. From what I hear, Italy tends to have a bit of an issue with food production, so we're going to grab that. And autocracy for additional crown power. The The nobility already have way too much power. The clergy could use a little bit more, but it's not super useful unless they have something I really want, which, okay, this counts. This also counts. The burghers, we just want to give them a ton of stuff, to be honest. They can definitely have this, and they can have that, and they can have this. We do want to allow the commoners to migrate. Really good idea. We also want militias for larger levy sizes, and that should just about do it. Because we make the estates happy, we can tax them a whole lot more, and we do want to extract a whole bunch of money. Not the nobility, they don't really like us, plus they have too much power. So we literally cannot tax them very much. As for minting, we'll just crank that up. A little inflation never hurt anybody. The navy needs a commander. I guess we can go with you. That's fine. And then we kind of need to strengthen the government at least a little bit. So we're going to get somebody who's not a super great general to work on that. You're probably fine. And then we're also going to change our societal values towards we want communalism, just a little bit for the beginning of the game. And we're going to get you to work on that. Next, our people need things that we do not have, but we do have additional trade capacity. So we can go over to our handy automation tab over here, and we're going to ask the game, please handle trade and production methods for me. Thank you. We do need a couple of rivals, and we might even want to go with the Eastern Roman Empire. Let's see. We are stronger than them, and oh god, yeah, significantly, damn. Also, Sicily too, why not? It's in our backyard. And then maybe Serbia, possibly? Yeah, we'll go with Serbia. Who do we want to be friends with? We'll go with Hungary. They seem pretty chill. They don't hate us. France, in case I want to fight Aragon over Sardinia. They don't like us, but we should just start improving relations with them. And then same thing with Castile, might as well improve relations in case I can get them to help me against Aragon. Fortunately, we do have about a decade before the Black Death comes in and absolutely destroys us. So we have a bit of time to build up. And what are we going to build? Trade. Just an absolutely disgusting amount of trade. It's worth noting that we do have our own market to work with, which is super useful, but on the downside, it means that we've actually run out of masonry. We literally cannot build anything else right now. The first target to turn our attention towards is going to be Sicily. So we do need to build our spy network. Well, here we go. Guelphs and Ghibellines fighting over Italy, etc., etc. Align with the Papal States or the Holy Roman Empire. We'll align with the Papal States, maybe. Because I'm the leader of the Guelphs, I'm allowed to support the imperial rival. We have our choices between Bohemia and Austria. Austria is a little bit close to home, so we're going to support Bohemia. We do have a slight problem in our market, and that is that we don't actually have enough food. As I mentioned, apparently Italy does have some issue. Maybe that'll be updated, but anyway, for now, we're going to try and import a lot more wheat. See if we can resolve the issue a little bit. In that case, probably also worth bumping up all of our wheat, just to make sure we don't starve before the Black Death kills us. Now, in this event, our two options basically boil down to, do we want to stay in our union where we have Provence, or do we want to be ruled by the Hungarian king once our current king dies? We're gonna say, no, we're not going with Hungary. I will explain the cost-benefit analysis of that a little bit later. Speaking of unions, we do have a CB to get a union over Sicily. This is probably a decent idea. Let's go raise the levies. Okay, so the Papal States does want to be an ally. It's a little bit awkward. We'll see if they do the stupid thing that they usually do. Let's not forget to give these guys a general to work with. We got super lucky, actually, because they wanted to do a naval landing, and naval landings are a lot harder to counter, simply because of how many tiles there are, and because naval landings take like 7 days now. But it's really good for us because it means we can just easily stack wipe their entire army. Thank you for the free victory. I truly do appreciate it. Here we go. Time for the usual papal crusade against Egypt, where if you actually take a look inside this crusade, it is literally just the Pope. Oh, another country, a second country this time. That's good. Obviously, they're probably gonna fix that by launch. It's just kind of funny. It did take us a whole year to get through that fort, but we can finally push out, or I guess push into Sicily. All we really have to siege are any of the tiles that have like a little flag and a circle next to them. Those are the provincial capitals, so we don't really have to siege everything. We're gonna go ahead and call the parliament, especially in the capital, because that's going to help us increase our centralization. Our two best options right now would either be conducting a census or funding farming estates, basically population or food. We do need food. It's also good to have population, always, but I think we can figure out food. We now have 100% war score, so we're going to force Sicily into the Union. We'll get some war reps and a bit of money. It will give us 27 antagonism, which is quite a bit, but is not nearly enough to form a coalition. Now we can just disband the entire army, get rid of all the levies, bring the ships back home, and instead we have to pick a new rival. We could go with Aragon, actually. You know, they are currently being invaded. Oh yeah, look at that. They have very few levies left. They do have a very professional navy though. That's kind of an issue. What do you have? Oh, you have galleys and lightships and I have none of those. Okay, so maybe we can't actually invade Aragon. Never mind. So instead of building ships, we're going to spend money on more food, pretty much. Food's just an enormous problem for us. We have nothing stockpiled. It is hilarious how overzealous the Papal States are to declare 70 crusades. The funniest part about this is that this is actually a good one to declare. I actually will help them this time. Oh, and this is like an actual crusade. Like it's not just me this time. That's nice. The Age of Renaissance, this actually does change things. It changes what tech we can get in this upcoming age. We don't plan on conquering too much, nor do I have a bunch of subjects that I need to rein in, so we'll go with administrative focus. Also went ahead and changed a couple of my graphic settings, which in theory should work and could give us a maybe somewhat decently running 3D graphics. Nice. Instead of the flat map, you get to see the actual stuff that, in my opinion, looks a lot better. Although, because I am recording and using VTube Studio, these are not the high end of the graphic settings. New institutions spawned. I think this one is almost always in Brabant. Yeah, here we go. Well, close-ish. Anyway, France is done with Aragon, so we're going to declare war on them. You might notice that we don't actually have a CB, and that's the point. If we don't have any real reason to go to war, they'll never see it coming. This is not good. Okay, well, our navy is absolutely cooked, but at the very least, we did manage to land some troops. Progress. So, let me see if I can just, like, march the other army across. Maybe that's a better idea. Some people would say that you shouldn't try to commit half of your army to taking one island. And like, yeah, they're right. They're completely correct on that. That's my mistake. Admittedly, things are not going the way that I thought they would because Aragon actually did commit their army to the island. And then when I split my army, I didn't notice. So they fought one of my armies and battles end up being pretty one-sided. Like if one side is going to win a battle, you can be pretty certain that the other side is going to end the battle with like 70 people left. Like as an example, here's this battle. It's clearly a fight to the complete death. Neither side retreats. Whatever happens, happens, pretty much. Also negotiated some military and food access from France, so we're going to start sieging down mainland Aragon. It's also 1344, and these are quite expensive, so we should probably go ahead and build a hospital right now in our capital. Well, that's pretty awkward. See, I'm the one invading you, actually. That's not how this is supposed to work. Oh god, what is this? Hey man, I think I'd rather not do that. Thanks. But you know what's funny is that we actually can still marry that king. Sure, why not? There we go. Even stronger union now. Oh man, I have no idea what's going on in this game most of the time. Dude, look at this union. We grabbed one of our sieges and most of Aragon's troops are over here in my country, so we're just gonna quickly send everyone back home. Well, half the army back home. Oh god, what is this? County of Urbino has declared war on... Is that the entire union? Come on, buddy. Yeah, good luck with that. Well, there goes the Aragonese army. We definitely want to fund farming estates. Probably a good idea. We're going to ask for a little bit of support by changing some of our values. Yeah, we've won that last battle. We're going to go step on Barcelona. Or, you know what? Actually, hold on. I'm going to fight you first. Excellent timing, actually. Thank you. Unfortunately, taking anything is incredibly expensive. We wouldn't even be able to take both of these provinces. Like, just this is 108 war score. So we're going to take some stuff in the south. I'm going to take a little bit of money and war reps. Now, because this stuff is so far away, we have pretty much zero proximity to the capital, and also as a result, we have like no control. I don't feel like spending the time to integrate this, so instead, I'm just going to release a subject. We'll go ahead and let's make him a fiefdom. Yeah, this seems pretty bad. It's probably fine, but just in case it isn't, you know, hypothetically speaking, we're gonna build another hospital, and I'm gonna use my favors I got from the Pope to ask for money, so that maybe I can build a second one. Hey, that's getting kind of close. Maybe we should do something about that. Getting really close, actually. Okay, here comes the fun part. We're gonna isolate the country, and because it can spread through trade routes, we're going to get rid of our trade automation, and we're gonna go ahead and actually just cancel every single trade. And the Black Death has spread nonetheless. Isn't that really lovely? Okay, I tried to make sure that nobody could import or export, and we had no trade, but it spread anyway, because I don't even know what happened. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to take out all the sick people, and we're going to move the court into hiding. And we're going to start building these things, the pest houses. They give us 30% additional plague resistance. And the queen died from disease anyway. Let's go. 69,000 people dead in a month. And funny enough, I actually forgot to isolate the cities. That's embarrassing. That probably would have saved me a couple thousand people, but they don't need to know that. Okay, no, I'm not going to sell Avignon. Actually, wait a second. It's not like I own Avignon. Yeah, I don't care. Hungary, please, man. Please. Dude, come on. Okay, it's just Bosnia. Fine, but like, are you serious, man? Brother, check your population graph. We do not need this right now. Oh god, 100,000 people died. 150,000. You know what? Inflation's fine. We're gonna get more minting, and also I might even take out a few loans. We've made it through the worst of the Black Death. It will still stick around for a little bit longer, but at the very least, the deaths have started to trail off. In the end, we lost 964,000 people. And so far, in total, 148 million have died to the plague. So, about 40% of our population died, and that's one of the better outcomes. It could have been worse. It could have been 50%. At this point, we can reopen the cities, emerge from hiding, and open back up. Immediately, we're going to have to help balance the budget because I printed money like there was no tomorrow. And for a lot of people, there really was no tomorrow. We're going to start our recovery efforts in some places. On the bright side, we no longer have a food problem. That's good. Oh my god. Okay, now we can actually start to build the economy. Well, in theory, a whole bunch of our merchants died, so in some places we can start to rebuild the economy. I think France's market is actually still isolated, so I'm going to ask them if I can trade. Perfect timing to be able to conduct a census, try to get some of that population growth back. At this point, it wouldn't be very hard for us to embrace meritocracy, and it would be quite useful, especially because we want to go down to trade efficiency and literacy, and especially down here. Hey, I think if I really wanted to, I would also maybe get a union with Austria. I don't really know how these work in this game, but they get more complicated, and it just gets funny at this point. Screw it. Yeah, universal monarchy, why not? Sure. Oh, wait a second, we've lost Hungary from the union. What? Why did we lose Hungary? How did this work? I don't know how this game works anymore, man. Oh, you know what happened? Okay, I'm pretty sure a ruler's older brother was king of Naples for like a time while we were waiting for her to come of age. Because she's 16, so that kind of makes sense. She's now the queen, and because she's in charge, it's like different. Good thing I didn't put any money into that last one. Okay, I guess we'll start working on this union then. Finally, the Black Death is over, which does more than just end the whole situation that was going on, but also makes it so that no one's allowed to isolate their economies anymore, which a lot of the AI does even after the Black Death doesn't exist in their country. There's also basically a schism in Italy over who should be considered cooler, the Pope or the Holy Roman Emperor, but I can't figure out how to convince people to think it's the Pope. Yeah, at this point, I think I'm looking for Renaissance. Yeah, I want Renaissance. Okay, let's embrace that. We want that crown power, and we want the art school, and of course, universities. I decided to just leave the Guelphs because it was absolutely destroying my economy. We do have an additional government reform, we'll go with royal decree. I figure it's about time we actually cement ourselves as the senior partner in this union. We'll go with administrative. I've come up with a plan, and it's either going to be genius or the stupidest thing I've ever done. And considering how few hours I actually have in this game, I don't know which one it's going to be. But basically, we can just speedrun through unifying the crowns. So we could actually just integrate every member of this union, which should allow us to form two Sicilies, integrating Sicily. It'll also make us a lot stronger, so we can rejoin the Guelphs and have a significant tax base to sway things towards our side, especially because Sicily won't be on the Ghibelline side. They will instead be directly owned by us. Here's reform number 3. Banking and professional armies are practically free to embrace at this point. Policy number 4. As you can see, I got a little distracted building the economy instead of integrating the union, but it's working because goddamn I'm making some money. We went from making about 40 gold a month to 460, although of course we don't keep all of that because of how expensive it is to do trade. But nonetheless, 3rd place is really not too bad. Well, you know, 3rd place we can see. I am terrified to see what anywhere in India or China looks like. We also have some privileges that the nobility have, which we kind of don't want them to have. So, for example, we do not want to drift away from centralization, and I kind of just don't want them to have that much power to begin with. Next, we need to align our cultures. Unlimited treasury access, damn, okay. Every member of the union adopts Neapolitan and Italian. Okay, sure. I bet the Austrians are gonna love that. And finally, all we have left to do is to unify the crowns. Fair warning, if you hate border gore, you should probably avert your eyes. Yep, that's pretty cursed. Well, I mean, we can form two Sicilies now, I did it. Here we are, guys. I don't think this is the way you were supposed to do this at all. Oh goodness, my eyes, it's blinding. Okay, we can move the capital to, where is this? Palermo. Isn't that over here? Ah, it's over here. Okay, that is a terrible idea, I think, actually. Yeah, let's not do that. Now, the real question is, what do I do with all this territory? I mean, I have cores on this stuff, so it's instantly owned by me. So, I guess I'm probably going to release a subject out of this stuff. I carved up all those territories into different subjects, since we can't really use all this stuff anyway. We also got a bunch of new cores, mostly on Sicily, if I had to guess. Also promoted Provençal culture to a tolerated culture. Unfortunately, it's too expensive for us to actually accept it. This will have to do. Oh, actually, from technology, we just got a second accepted culture. So we could either promote Provençal to an accepted culture, or we could start trying to tolerate other ones. We'll just accept Provençal. That's actually what allows us to get cores on all this stuff, which should increase the amount of control we can have. I'm gonna use my support in the parliament to ask for a law change, because I would like to change away from feudal administration to a unitary administration. We've gotten our universities. The armory is the next most important thing we could get, and we get to choose our education law, which I think makes the most sense to go for education of the people. At this point, I think I'd like to look into increasing our monthly research. That's mostly going to be done through increasing the average literacy. And to do that, we're going to have to build a whole bunch of universities. Going to build a bailiff right here, should be useful for proximity. And at the same time, we're going to see if we can start building some roads to this location, because that'll make that actually work. This time from the parliament, I'm going to ask for another law change, specifically because I want to change the mining law away from the noble-controlled mining towards the burgher-controlled mining. Ooh, we've become one of the great powers. I mean, that is to be expected. Actually surprising it took this long. Not really sure what it means to be a great power, but it seems we're the only one in Europe currently. Okay, so if we have the highest great power score, then we become great powers. So that means that somebody else must have either fallen apart, or we're just that cool. The number 4 great power, in fact, okay. Mostly we get a couple of bonuses, and we're allowed to intervene in wars, so that's cool. Next, we're going to be looking for grabbing a dock, and maybe the entrepôts. And we can get started on building a couple of armories. You know, just a few. Never mind. Well, it was nice while it lasted. Pisa wants to buy military access from me for 322 gold. Okay, sure. Don't mind if I do. Florence too? It must be my birthday or something. Actually, that was yesterday, as of when I'm recording this. That's not a joke, it actually was. Once again, I'm going to leverage my support in the parliament to get myself a little law change. And the law I would like changed is the distribution of power. Bit of a toss-up for me between the burghers and the ruler, but I think ultimately we'll go with the ruler. I should also mention that I've been doing a lot of assimilation, mostly so that I can expand on that later. Later as in, you know, in 2 days. Oh, that's sudden, hold on. Right. Sometimes if you don't actually do things for your population, they will hate you and they will rise up. Who could have guessed? I know. This does have us fighting the Papal States, which is not great because I think the Papal States at this point have something special, which is their own unique, like, holy order or mercenary company or something. The Militant Faithful is what it's called, and that has a lot of regulars. Kind of an issue, because that's like a free army they get. That's actually good. In fact, better than my army, which is kind of a problem. But it's not too much of an issue because we do get a lot of manpower per month. So we're just going to build up a few more soldiers, and hopefully that solves the problem. Actually, you know what? Instead of grabbing this stuff, I'm gonna go ahead and go for artillery. And then of course we're going to need a cannon maker for that. And maybe we want improved infantry. Okay, yeah, that's not exactly ideal. That is the entire combined Papal army plus like everything else they get to have. I did raise a few levies. I'm hoping the levies that have been raised are enough to like offset just the number difference, but we'll see. And they all died before we even got there. Okay, that's new. That usually doesn't happen. Okay, well, the professional armies are going to need a slight improvement on my end. On the bright side, they can't recover those losses, and for me, that's Tuesday, so not a huge deal. Didn't really think I would be sacking Rome today, but unfortunately, the Pope just isn't cool like that. I don't know what to say. Shouldn't have supported my rebels, I guess. That's kind of too bad. Okay, I'm back and stronger than before, and I think I should be able to beat these guys up, in theory. You may have surrendered, but like, listen, man, I kind of need the thing back, and it has to be sieged. So still gonna crush your army though. That's for sure. Like you deserve this actually. See, the garrison here is literally 3 people. But anyway, what that really means is we can just click this button and it's kind of over. So that's actually not very hard. And out of curiosity, could I also assault this? Maybe 350 people, and we have almost 10,500. Yeah. What if I just get the levies to do that? You know, the expendables. Oh, they do not do a very good job. But not too many people actually died. This might be a new strat actually. I'm not sure why, but this stuff is not being counted as part of a peace offer, which means in theory I could actually fully annex the Papal States. Okay, I don't think I should do that. That's a lot of antagonism. So, you know what? You can keep Rome, actually. They get to keep Rome and Avignon. I think that's generous enough. I didn't even notice that actually the Papal States still technically own this too. Probably should have taken that, but oh well. Hey, discovery of the New World. That's a little early. Oh yeah, not sure if I mentioned this, but we can also canonize saints. I think that's our main interaction with our religious mechanics, for the most part. At least what we're allowed to do. We get some prestige, some legitimacy, it makes the clergy happy, and apparently we get a couple of additional benefits, allegedly. You know, at this point I'm realizing I could probably upgrade a lot more places to towns and cities. And the reason I would want to do that is because it appears that doing that allows you to build more marketplaces, I think. Actually, yeah, so a city does give you +5. Oh, and then the game crashes. Oops. Now at this point, we should probably go and build a whole bunch of docks, because my navy is pretty sizable, but it isn't the size that I want it to be. Especially when you compare it to Aragon. Like, look, they have a lot more ships than we do. I would destroy them on land, don't get me wrong. It's literally no contest, but at sea, yeah, it is a bit of a contest, and it shouldn't be. Actually, out of curiosity, could we start exploring stuff? Maybe? Actually, I think we can. There's like literally nothing stopping us. Okay, yeah, sure, we should just do that. Why not? Colonial Italy, hell yeah. Oh my goodness, I didn't even realize my country's ruled by Habsburgs already. I mean, it makes sense because, you know, royal marriage with Austria, but I didn't even think about that. They already rule Europe. It's been a while since I last conquered anything, and we really cannot build any CBs. That's just how it is in the early game. So we'll just have to use the best CB. Our army is actually well equipped this time, complete with infantry, both hand gunners and regular footmen, heavy cavalry, significant artillery, and enough supplies to last a while. In fact, if you compare it to a lot of the other countries, our army itself might actually be the strongest. Well, in Europe, that is. You know what I actually want to do? Hold on, let me ask for another law change. We're gonna go with horticulture, seems like a good idea. Still can't really take too much in any piece, but I will take this stuff because I can, and it's mostly stuff that's still in my market. As you can see, I've also been trying to build a much better road network, since we have the money and materials to actually expand it and make it worth it. These cathedrals should also help us increase our control. South Macronesia discovered, let's see, and Castile has already gotten to it. That kind of makes sense. Okay, how about the Canaries? And while we're at it, we might as well send out additional expeditions. Oh man. Probably don't want to drop the burghers by 20% to state satisfaction, so we're gonna pay off that entire sum. Which sucks because loans are a lot harsher in this game. I just realized we got a guy whose last name is Terra Nova and he's exploring for us. He's fulfilling his destiny. Interesting. The Mamluks have sent us a gift of 1,400 gold, which now forces us to owe them favors. Oh, that's interesting. And I don't know if I like that. Not really so much a gift when it comes with strings attached, but okay. Unfortunately for Siena, enough time has passed since I last conquered some territory. Finally, a worthy battle. Kind of. We have at least some professional units on the other side. It says I'm gonna lose this. That's not true. It's just not gonna happen. It's actually kind of an incredible stomp. Now, we could demand more in this war from all of these countries here. Like, I could separate piece each of these countries. But I don't want to do that too much because I think we also get additional antagonism for that. Kinda like with the U4. So I will take all of Pisa. And then, of course, all of Siena. Although I am definitely pushing it. Also, I actually will start integrating this subject. We got to build these counting houses, and I would like more crown power, so I'm going to do so. And finally, the Age of Renaissance comes to a close, and the Age of Discovery begins. If I were continuing this video, we would be going for the Age of Discovery diplomatic focus, but we won't be because that is all I can show you for today. We don't have time for a deep debrief, but essentially we are one of the strongest countries we can see at the moment, although the Mamluks are beginning to catch up with us, at least in terms of our income. And this is the territory we currently hold some form of dominion over. Surely by the end of the next age, we will have been able to form Italy by then, and from there, who knows. I want to thank you again for watching, and if you have any suggestions or questions for the follow-up video that will release 2 days after this, then this is your opportunity to leave a comment down below. But for now, this is Corbett signing off, and as always, have a fantastic day.